Leonor Fini was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina in 1907. Her mother took her back to native Trieste, Italy before the age of 1. Because her father tried to kidnap Leonor, she was disguised as a boy when they went out until the age of 6. She spent a lot of time walking on the beach and collected animal skeletons to draw. Leonor had an eye disease in her youth and wore bandages over both eyes for months. She remembered herself having split pupils like a kitty cat. Leonor was expelled from 3 schools and convinced her mother to let her independently study art. She had no formal training and studied from her uncle's library and museums. At 17, she had her first exhibition in a local gallery, and word of her paintings reached Milan. A year later, she moved to Paris, where she began her collection of Persian cats. She quickly made friends, and her art found its way into galleries. In Paris, she became a legend almost overnight. She arrived to an opening wearing a fur coat and nothing underneath. She caught the attention of the Surrealists, and when she met up with some at a cafe, she was dressed in a cardinal scarlet robe. I like the sacrilegious nature of dressing as a priest, and the experience of being a woman and wearing the clothes of a man who would never know a woman's body. Although welcomed and made friends with many of them, Fini refused to join the Surrealist group. She did not intend to be a muse or lover of the men in the group like the other women, and explained, I hate Andre Breton's misogyny. Fini was unlike any other. She said she understood at an early age. I would have to revolt in order to live as I would. But it would be better to make my own money than to depend on someone else. She even dyed her hair unnatural colors and often dressed in men's clothing. She even used surrealism as a weapon against the traditional view of women. Her work is authoritative, sensual, and governed by passion. Her goddesses have power over male figures and celebrate female sexuality. She often used the image of the Sphinx, and in her life, cats were her personal totem. Eventually owning about 23 Persian cats at one time, she believed in superiority of felines and preferred humans to be more beast-like. Although married briefly, she realized it wouldn't work. Marriage never appealed to me. I've never lived with just one person. Since I was 18, I've always preferred to live in a sort of community. A big house with my Italian cats. And friends, with one man who was rather a lover, and another who was rather a friend. And it has always worked.
Kotjalensky and Stanislaw Lepre were the 2 men that lived with her for 40 years until their deaths. After World War II, her career expanded. She designed theater sets and costumes for the ballet and opera,
which included see-through dresses and enormous codpieces. She also began to illustrate books. She turned her home into an eerie theatrical atmosphere. Velvet curtains, old mirrors, wigs, skeletons, oriental clothing, and sequined items. I have always loved and lived my own theater. An assistant she appointed described it as a little bit of prison and a lot of theater. His main job was to take care of Leonor's beloved Persian cats, which she took everywhere with her. They shared her bed, and during dinner, they roamed the table and ate whatever they chose. Between 1946 and 1953, she attended 16 costumed balls. Her costumes were always elaborate and featured in magazines every time. Fini continued to paint alongside designing costumes and also wrote 3 novels. Her best-known illustrations are for Histoire d'Ile. Her entire body of work consists of watercolor and oil paintings, illustrations, lithographs, engravings, and her work with theater. She died January 18th, 1996 in her home on Ile de la Cité in Paris, France.